As we are here, we're at that time of year, we're always monitoring the winter weather. People want us to close schools just at the drop of a hat or a notice that we're going to have snow, but we have to take very cautious, have to take precautions to make sure we are making the right call. As a team of people, not just from Shelby County Schools, but we work with local, state, and national folks to kind of monitor the weather. Of course, we watch you all. We're people just like you all, and we watched our local meteorologists to check out forecasts. It's a tricky situation. The first and foremost, one of the things we want to do is make sure that our kids are safe. They have safe passage to be in school. We want to make sure that they have every educational opportunity they possibly can, and that their trek to school, whether riding the bus or walking, is one that's done in safety. We have a large area, so we have to look at the weather from all angles, not just from Memphis itself, but we have outliers close to Millington, Bartlett, Arlington that we have to look for, make sure that the weather is appropriate at that time. We typically try to make the call by 5 a.m. in the morning because our buses start rolling out at 5 a.m. But again, the weather is tricky. It could change. Just between last night and today, we've got several different predictions about when the weather was going to hit, what type of weather was going to hit, et cetera, et cetera. And the district also realizes that we are the second largest employer, and we affect other entities as well. We have to make sure that our parents have enough opportunity to make provisions for taking care of their children. With about a third of our students riding the bus, it again makes things tricky. So you have about 30-something thousand kids who are eligible to ride the bus. We want to make sure they have safe passage on those buses. So we look at major roadways, et cetera, et cetera. We have different crews that are out. Our safety and security folks are riding around. I've driven around myself a couple of times, and we want to make sure that everybody has safe passage to school.
What about the walkers?
Yeah, the walkers have a treacherous trek as well. We try our best to work with the city to see which streets are going to be clear or not. We have our plant managers that typically try to take care of the schools themselves with salt, et cetera, but then again, it's a manpower thing, and you can't do anything too early. Like right now, it's raining. We put things right now to wash away. So we try to make sure that we have taken care of everything.
So what are the exact steps you guys are taking? What are you guys looking at to make sure of whether or not you're exposed?
Right now, we're just watching the weather, working with our emergency management people, working with our meteorologists, et cetera, getting phone calls. Our team here, our emergency management people here are working with different crews. Our safety and security folks are actually driving the streets right now to find out which area is going to be more treacherous than others. And so we're just doing everything we can.
TDOT too as well?
TDOT is involved, absolutely.
Have you ever, or has the district ever considered the possibility, we've been hearing from some parents about down the line maybe looking at closing sections of the school district as opposed to the entire district when you do have these kind of more isolated weather events? Not that this Friday is going to be that.
Yeah, we don't do sections. We either open or we close in totality. If there's a school specifically that cannot open for obvious reasons, like there's absolutely no heat and we cannot generate that, or there's blockage to that school specifically, we will close on a case-by-case situation, but we want all of the kids to be able to go to school.
So there have been lessons learned from previous closures and previous events that you can incorporate into this one?
Yeah, that no matter what call we make, it's going to be a difficult one, and somebody's not going to be happy, regardless of whether we close it or not. In the past, I know we had wind chills of negative degree temperatures. We closed the schools because we didn't want people standing out at the buses. We had children standing. We got in trouble for that with some of our constituents. We have learned that. We also learned to not make the call too early, specifically because we don't know when the weather's going to hit. For a large population of our students, and I think the last look, about 44% of our children live in households of less than $10,000 a year. So for a lot of our students, this is their only meal. So we don't want to close schools and not have them have that opportunity to be in a warm, safe environment and have meals, especially like on a Friday. Some of these kids won't even eat until the next Monday. So we want to make sure that, like I said, this is a safe environment for them to be at school. The other thing that we learned is that if weather strikes during a time by which we've already started transporting the kids, typically we don't want to call school right then because you introduce more parents back into an already treacherous situation. We try to house the kids there until we can have everybody safe, then call the school a little bit later, close.
What's being done with some of the schools that have had heating issues this winter?
Well, our crews are definitely out there right now. We have a new monitoring system that those guys are working on to make sure that we can catch those things early enough so we can call those schools off early. But as repairs come up, of course, we're out there and our crews are making sure they fix those as quickly as possible.
How many crews do you guys have out there?
I don't know the exact number. We can probably get back that to you.
Do those 7 stockpile days that you guys have play a factor at all in whether or not you'll have school tomorrow since you have a little bit of leeway?
Yeah, to some degree. At the same time, not really. I mean, I know that's kind of playing both hands, but at the same time, it's first and foremost, we want to make sure that the students have an opportunity to learn. If there's a hazardous condition, we're not going to put the kids out there anyway, so it doesn't matter how many stockpile days. That's just for us to do some recalibration of how we conduct our normal days. Any other questions?
What are some of the criticisms that you hear from parents when these kinds of decisions come up? And what sorts of things did happen on your end of the...
Sure, it's a tough situation. You have parents that are hourly workers, so if we call a school day, they now have to go back home potentially and take care of their child, and they lose a day of work. Some people just don't like the fact that, you know, we close schools. They want to make sure that the students are learning, and we get that as well. Some of the other criticisms depend on where you live demographically. So the weather hit North Shelby County, but it didn't hit South Shelby County. So now you're having to come back home and take care of your children in an area that is crystal clear, but we have a whole section of the county that is, you know, wrought with issues from the weather. So it's just a range of things that come up.
How about high school sports?
High school sports, thank you for bringing that up. One of the other things we consider is after-school activities. So if we close a school if we close a district down during the day, then after-school activities probably come right after that. The other things is if we have field trips, we have to consider where the students are going. If they're going to Nashville, well, they can't go to Nashville because the weather's inclement there. So we have to monitor those and work with charter bus organizations, et cetera, to make sure that they have safe passage, and maybe call some of those trips off as well.
So this will be called right after the school closings or kind of in correspondence?
Typically, we do it at the same time. We meet together as a large group and say, what are we doing? If we close the entire district, then by and large, we're closing the after-school activities. Now, there are case-by-case situations by which if there are situations where the adults can get to school and not harm the students, like central office folks. If we can get here, we may still have some of our meetings, things like that. But when it comes to the students, if there's a student activity, we by and large shut them all down.